Bill Gates was caught admitting that the climate change agenda is a giant scam for the New World Order in a newly surfaced video in which he boasts that the term clean energy has screwed up people's minds. According to Gates, who was speaking to an audience of his inner circle in 2018, wind, solar, battery technology and other renewable energy sources might be fashionable, but they are not capable of solving climate change. As you can see in the upcoming video footage, the fact that renewable energy is not actually capable of solving climate change, despite being sold to us as the cure for so-called man-made global warming, is hysterically funny for Bill Gates. Why does he find it so funny? Perhaps because he is making a fortune out of those so-called clean energy sources and capitalizing on the gullible masses with their screwed up minds.
It's 22 gigawatts rate over 3 days. Tell me what battery solution is going to sit there and provide that power. I mean, let's not joke around. You're multiple orders of magnitude, $100 per kilowatt hour. That's nothing. That doesn't solve the reliability problem. And remember, electricity is 25% of greenhouse gas emissions. Whenever we came up with this term clean energy, I think it screwed up people's minds because now they don't understand.
Damning stuff from the father of clean energy himself. So now that we have Gates on record admitting clean energy is a scam, how does the unelected World Health Czar defend his plans to force people to stop eating meat and start consuming his fake meat?
Now, a large part of the carbon we have in the atmosphere now is caused by the electricity grid, which is about 25% or so.
Exactly.
So 24%, it comes from agriculture and forestry. Why is that causing such a big increase in carbon?
Well, that category is a variety of things. When you clear land, you're taking in the carbon that's stored, say, in the trees or plants there, and you're releasing all of that, like burning the land, say, in Indonesia for palm oil plantations. Another thing is that cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane, and methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well? Or do you like it?
Absolutely.
You do? Okay.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use.
As Joe Rogan pointed out, Bill Gates really shouldn't be lecturing anybody about a healthy diet. There is, of course, a clear financial motive to Gates's plan in getting people to consume his fake food, just as there had been with his COVID investments. This is the man who admitted he ordered President Trump not to investigate the possible side effects of the new COVID jabs.
In both of those two meetings, he asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing because he was considering a commission to look into ill effects of vaccines. And somebody, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr., was advising him that vaccines were causing bad things. And I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. Don't do that.
Damning stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. But Gates has a history of being, suspiciously, one step ahead of major world disasters and capitalizing on them when they arrive. In recent years, Gates has been buying up vast swathes of US and world farmland. Last year, Gates became the biggest private owner of farmland in the US. The Microsoft co-founder is considered the largest private owner of farmland in the country, with some 269,000 acres across dozens of states, according to last year's edition of the Land Report 100. An annual survey of the nation's largest landowners.
Bill Gates has been snatching up 242,000 acres of farmland across the U.S., enough to make him the top private farmland owner in America. According to the Land Report, the tech billionaire has been purchasing agricultural land for years, building a massive portfolio of farmland in 18 states. His largest holdings are more than 69,000 acres in Louisiana, almost 48,000 acres in Arkansas, and about 20,500 acres in Nebraska. Additionally, he has a stake in 25,750 acres of traditional land in Phoenix, Arizona, which is being developed as a new suburb.
Suspiciously, following Gates' quick-fire purchase of the largest stake of America's farmland, food production facilities started burning to the ground. Could the man who predicted the pandemic and was conveniently on hand to capitalize from it also have predicted the food crisis? If you've been paying attention this year, you'll know that the Netherlands has been the World Economic Forum's experimental territory, where brutal Great Reset policies have been rolled out by a fully bought and paid for government working on behalf of the WEF. Eva Vlaardingerbroek spoke to Rebel News and explained the connection between Bill Gates and the Dutch government destroying the farmers' livelihoods.
It is laughable, and that is what you should take away from this. It's not a real crisis. Obviously, nitrogen isn't a problem, especially not when you consider the fact that, well, the Netherlands, like I said, is such a small piece of land.
Yeah.
We have our neighboring countries, Belgium and Germany, that don't have to implement any of these measures, but the Dutch government is doing it. And the real reason, obviously, behind it is that the Dutch state wants the farmers' land. Because probably there are a couple of reasons. So the farmers, first of all, they're a group in society that are very self-reliant. They are basically ungovernable in that sense. You know, they own a lot of the Dutch land, and they produce agricultural products. They have livestock. They produce beef. And what's interesting to know is that the Dutch minister who has pushed this nitrogen law has a brother-in-law who is the owner of the Dutch online supermarket called Picnic. Guess who invested $600 million in Picnic last year? Right, Bill Gates, the man who wants you to eat fake meat.
And, you know, that's not just a conspiracy theory. I know, for example, that the head of the Netherlands, am I pronouncing his name right? Rutte? How do you pronounce the name of the leader of the Netherlands? He's a serious member of the World Economic Forum, too. What's his name?
Mark Rutte. Yes,
Rutte.
Mark Rutte is very, very deeply involved in the World Economic Forum. And, well, it's obvious that this law is a product, again, of these globalist institutions. Because this needs to happen before 2030. Rings a bell, right? Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, World Economic Forum. It's very clear that this is a made-up crisis, which we've seen before with these organizations. That's the way they handle, that's the way they operate these things. They say, we have a crisis, and you are the ones that are going to have to solve this by giving up all of your rights.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening here. They're taking away these farmers' this land. They're taking away property because they see a future for us in which we're completely dependent on the state. You eat bugs, and well, they own your land. You own nothing, and you'll be happy, is what they say to you. But these farmers are not happy, and I'm so proud that they're fighting this.
Considering the amount of pain and suffering that the Great Reset clean energy policies inflict on ordinary people, can they really be justified by the elite who are pushing them on us? When you remember that 4 years ago Bill Gates was laughing with his friends about how clean energy won't even solve the so-called climate crisis, there can only be one answer. The Great Reset is a scam, no matter how you slice it.